A week ago, the GRIDLIFE iRacers Quarantine Cup kicked off at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. A wild night of heat racing consolation action in the 20-minute feature left us speechless with how good the racing was, but this time we're heading a little bit closer to home for GRIDLIFE at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. Welcome to GRIDLIFE Gaming and SimTV. My name's Kyle Heyer alongside Adam Jabay from GRIDLIFE for his first ever sim racing event. This is going to be a lot of fun, Adam. The first time we've ever really done this. I'm excited. We're going to see how it goes.
It's my first iRacing calling. I've been calling the Forza League for a few weeks now, and definitely doing a mediocre job, if I do say so myself.
I thought you did a really good job at COTA, so I think we're just going to try to repeat that tonight, and we'll see how it goes.
That's real life. When you got Tom O'Gorman next to you, everything looks easy.
That's true. Tom makes everything look easy, and my first ride with Tomo was at Gingerman last year, and he was drifting a Civic, made that look easy too.
Yeah, he's good at making things on track look easy. That's for sure. And whenever he pulls his helmet off, he makes it look like the perfect hairstyle is easy as well. So.
All right, well, let's take a look at the track we're at tonight. A lot of GRIDLIFE people will be very familiar with this facility. It's Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, Adam. And this is a 2.26 mile road course in Lexington, Ohio. You know it very well. A lot of drivers from the GRIDLIFE arena do. Tell me about this particular racetrack.
It's one of my personal favorites. It's the first place that I actually sprint raced. I raced my first SCCA race here a bunch of years ago and flailed in mediocrity, but had one of the most memorable weekends of my life. I've had a lot of memorable weekends here. I've done a lot of HPDE events with obviously with GRIDLIFE. We've hosted events here, I believe, for 4 years now. This was also the location in real life of our first GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race. So it has it'll kind of always hold a kind of a special place in my heart, because this is the place that we birthed our sprint racing series. So really, really fun track. It has kind of something for everyone. It's got a little bit of a power section in that back straight. The front straight and the turn 1 to the keyhole straight also those are fairly long. But man, that back section after Madness and all the way down through Thunder Valley, those are some of the most enjoyable turns that I've ever partaken in real life.
And I think this racetrack, in comparison where we were last week at Circuit of the Americas, certainly that track is technical, but this is on a different level. This suits this MX-5 Cup car a lot better, and actually that kind of transitions very nicely into the car that we're using this evening, and that is the Global MX-5 Cup car, Adam. And this is a very lightweight, nimble race car, and this car and track combination is absolutely joyous to drive.
This is a great track for like a mid-power car like this. It really suits. It suits like the 250 horsepower car very, very well. Lightweight and definitely good handling is a huge plus when you are partaking in anything Mid-Ohio. Conversely, some of the higher end time attack cars, some of the unlimited guys, they do think that this is like the perfect time attack track also. It holds all the different elements of a racetrack. And it really combines them nicely. It's such a flowing circuit in real life. Once you get that rhythm, it's one of the most rewarding places I've ever driven. Every time I'm driving to Mid-Ohio, I still get excited. It's been 5, 6, 7 years since my first trip there, and I get pins and needles every time I'm coming into Mid-Ohio, because I know I'm gonna have a good time. And I'm probably almost gonna crash my car because it's slightly dangerous, but it's also it's just so fun. What a great track.
It's a great track. We're going to head down to practice here, and Tom O'Gorman left me some little tidbits of information that we should probably talk about before we get into the qualifying and the format for tonight's events. 105 drivers are attempting to qualify into this feature race. The cutoff time to get into this was a 1:38.8, and 6 drivers were within a tenth of that cutoff time, Adam. So the competition is as fierce as it was last week at Circuit of the Americas. The top 5 in times: DJ Alessandrini, Casera, Cobb, O'Gorman, and Schwenke. So those drivers ones to watch tonight. But let's go over our format here in just a second, because I think last week we didn't really get an opportunity to look at it in as much detail as we would have liked. So now we're going to take a look at exactly what we're doing tonight, and here is a look. So It's going to all start off with the open qualifying, which everybody did a little bit earlier tonight. Up to 120 drivers are allowed to qualify for these events, and we're only going to take the top half, the top 60 in heat qualifying. Will separate into 2 different heats. Heat 1 with the odd drivers, Heat 2 with the evens, and then the top half of those will head straight to the feature race, which will be top 40 drivers. Where do we get those other 10? From the LCQ, the last chance qualifier. Those are the 40 drivers that will make up our 20-minute feature event, but we currently in heat qualifying the top 60 drivers from earlier tonight. They're going to qualify right now to get separated into their 2 respective heats. So that's what we're watching at the moment here, Adam, as we head down to the racetrack and get this underway.
This track right now, this is it's a smaller, it's kind of a narrower, older circuit, and even 40 cars. This is a busy place with 40 cars. It's a really fun place to be in traffic too. It has decent grip when it's dry throughout the entire circuit. It is one of my favorites. I'm really excited to even see it in the virtual world. This is I've driven it many times in iRacing and driven it poorly, but it's a fun track, virtual or real.
There is Rob Casera in the 177, one of the drivers to watch, as well as Travis Schwenke in the 016. He ran quite well at Circuit of the Americas last week, currently working his way through the final corner here at Mid-Ohio and getting set up for the front straightaway, which is very short. That's a lot different than Circuit of the Americas last week, where we had a chance to get all 40 drivers in the feature lined up before they hit the throttle. A little bit different today, and typically you start over on the other side of the course with faster cars, but tonight the start-finish line will be on the pit straight.
I have never done that. That sounds kind of fun. I've always started in that back section, dropping down into China Beach. And turn one is it's really the turn that is in real life has always gotten me. Like that is the one turn I feel like I've never nailed. And that's a wild place to take the green flag to enter turn one. That blind left-hander underneath the bridge. I'm excited to see how all the races, how the starts go tonight.
Again, we're going to have 2 heat races to line up the night. Again, the top 15 from each of those 30-car races will move on straight to the feature. So Schwenke currently working through the middle of Sector 2 right now, down into Madness. And on the far side of the course, which is really where this MX-5 platform shines at them, a lot of carrying speed. A lot of drivers have described this MX-5 in iRacing as a little bit floaty, driving like it's got kind of dinner plates under the rear tires. It is a very slidey machine, and I want to take a look at the weather out here, because that's going to really determine how slidey it is. And it's 72 ambient, track surface 80 degrees, so relatively cool, and that should mean there's a little bit more grip than there was last week at COTA.
Have you ever actually done the dinner plates under the rear wheels, Kyle?
No, I have not.
It's the best. You gotta try it. You gotta go steal some Taco Bell trays and go play with your friends and lock that e-brake on a front-wheel drive car. There is about nothing funner. I can promise you that. But yeah, that's a little bit of a cold temperature for Mid-Ohio. Mid-Ohio notoriously has kind of an over-sealed surface too. So if you get any kind of dampness, if it's cold, this track is a little bit spooky in the cold and in the damp. But 80 degrees track temp shouldn't be too bad.
There's DJ Alessandrini, this brand new number 91, and this was painted up by Rob Wilkinson this past week, and that is probably one of the most beautiful cars I think I've ever seen.
It is so cool.
So he works through the backside of the course right now. A very scenic back section here under the Honda Bridge up over the crest, and then heading towards Thunder Valley. And again, in a faster car, you might be worried about wheel spin up over the top here. Pretty much full throttle flat for these 180 horsepower Global MX-5s.
You get a little bit of a jump there, and some of these cars might lose a little bit of traction as they crest that little bit of a jump, but the crest is where that bending right-hander, where you're entering that bending right-hander, that's always an area that I'm always afraid somebody's going to spin and loop in front of me. And in real life, I try to stretch my neck out and look over that crest. I wonder how the view is in iRacing.
Well, I think it obviously depends on whether or not you're using virtual reality, which we know that DJ Alessandrini is. Other drivers, I don't think Kenton Cook is here tonight, but when he has used virtual reality, he actually switched back to triple screens. A lot of drivers just on a single monitor, so your perspective changes depending on the hardware. Won't necessarily make you faster, but certainly more aware of what's going on.
Yeah, this track is stunningly accurate from a sideline perspective. It looks so. I mean, it looks so real. This is. I've never seen it from this view in iRacing. It is. I mean, I can almost feel it. I've watched the runoffs from this view right here before. It's very cool to see from an iRacing sideline perspective.
I think this is one of the tracks where iRacing really has done a nice job capturing the feel of this. And if we can't go racing in the real world, this is sort of the next best thing. Obviously, we all want to be out at the racetrack, but this will do for now.
Yeah, it's not too far off. As far as car specs tonight, our specs all car adjustments and everything. How are the drivers? What adjustments are they able to make to the cars tonight?
So the MX-5 platform within iRacing is generally fairly locked down in terms of what you can do. You can change the spring perch, the tire pressures, the anti-roll bar. There's not a whole lot beyond that you can do, and drivers will mostly tweak the setups that DJ provides because he's pretty much an alien. He's got this car all scienced out to the max.
Yeah.
But you can tweak on some things, and you can definitely get it handling in different ways. A lot of drivers play with the rake on this car. You see actually Christoph's car kind of squatting in the rear a little bit to let those springs kind of do some work in the rear end to keep that car planted on corner exit. But I think it's a really interesting idea, Adam, a lot of competitions like this, we like to give everybody the exact same setup and let them figure it out. But I like the idea of giving the driver a little bit of control so that they can make the car handle how they want it to handle.
Right. This was the car that when I was iRacing a little bit, I was basically just practicing, and this was the car that I primarily drove. And you can really notice some of the setup changes, though, even the minor things like ride height, tire pressure. It's quite noticeable. At least it was to me. It's a fun car to drive in iRacing.
Absolutely. So we're going to go over one more time and show you the format for this race, or this evening rather, as the practice concludes here. It'll be off screen for Adam, but in just a moment we're going to begin our first qualifying session of the night for the drivers that have gotten in. So we're doing the heat qualifying, and now it's the close qualifying. So every driver will get 8 minutes to run the best lap that they can, and that will be what separates everybody into their heats. So odd drivers will be in heat number 1, evens will be in heat number 2. So if you're 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, and etc., you'll be in the first heat of 30 drivers. And if you're 2, 4, 6, 8, you'll be in heat number 2. That's what we're doing right now, as Emil Tab takes to the racetrack in his winning Formula Miata. A little bit different, a little bit newer platform that he's running on tonight, but still very much a Mazda machine.
Yeah, Emil in real life, obviously a Mazda driver in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. Also the builder of one of the most spectacularly beautiful Lotus 7 style replicas that I've ever seen, with a rotary 13B power. But he's got that cool gradated graphic there with the multiple colors. There's something very, very cool about his car in real life, and his iRacing car looks pretty good. But
always thought that was a really slick kind of livery that he had applied to that thing. So I think, didn't he just redo the inside of his trailer as well during this whole situation?
He put the same graphics in the backside of his trailer that he's been remodeling with his kids.
Like a man with attention to detail.
Yeah, he texted me pictures of when he was actually painting the graphic inside the trailer, and he said, "Why am I the way I am?" He's quite detail oriented. But earlier when you were saying odds and evens, the first thing that popped into my head was Brad Adams when he said odd. But is Brad Adams running with us?
Oh, he sure is. There he is.
Oh boy, there he is.
Oh man.
Yeah, that looks like that's definitely a Brad Adams livery right there. I think I've seen him wear that T-shirt with various forms of eagles and wolves.
Brad is about as subtle as a freight train as he comes onto the front straightaway. 5 minutes left on the clock. Make that 6 as he comes across the line for his first effort. Let's jump through the field a little bit more, Adam. How about Tom O'Gorman? We know how talented he is, and he's got a new livery on this car tonight. All chrome and a little bit of Valvoline on the side. Again, a brand new Valvoline eSports driver, competed in the Valvoline Pro-Am race last Saturday and did quite well there in that race.
Yeah, he got P2, looked real strong there. That was a solid performance by everybody involved, including yourself. Nice job on the back end, man.
Thank you.
It was a fun race to watch. I was watching that one.
So Tom O'Gorman's out on track. We'll check another group of familiar names. I did see Austin Cobb out on track again, and he performed really nicely last week at Circuit of the Americas. So he's got his car with the Apex logos on the side of that thing as he heads up through the crescent underneath the Honda bridge. Another driver I saw, I did see Aaron Lichty kind of poking his nose in here, trying to figure out where he is on the timing and scoring right now, but he is here as well as Patrick Gallagher, IMSA driver. He's turned around on the backside. I think that's over by Madness, I believe.
It's definitely not going as fast as he wants to go. But, good looking classic NASCAR livery there on the side of the MX-5.
Absolutely. And obviously Eric Cattell in the number 82, painted very much like his EG Civic. That is a beautiful show car and also a very good race car. And here tonight, got the same livery on board this machine.
Yeah, his car in real life, it's arguable whether it's more show or go nowadays, especially now that he painted the engine bay. That's one of the coolest Honda Civics probably of all time. But yeah, really cool livery. It just works. It works in all circumstances, and it's got a real classic vibe to it. Looks good in the virtual world too.
Luke McGrew heading through Keyhole right now. Got a very, the livery game is very strong. There's Derek Yarbrough on the side of that thing too, so, oh goodness.
It's perfect. I love it. That's excellent.
What else is on that car?
I wish this car looked like that in real life. Is there Tiger King things on there?
It looks like it there, Adam. And
he might be blaming Carol Baskin and Yarbrough at the same time.
Oh man, they got to reel these guys in. They're getting out of hand already as he heads down through Madness. I'm still trying to find Aaron Lichty. Now I finally got him. Not his real world paint scheme on this car, but he's working through the backside of the course through Thunder Valley and up towards the final. What do you call this corner? The carousel over here.
This is kind of right here. I think it's what I would refer to as the carousel, and then I enter there's the big bump right there before you enter the front straight. But yeah, I think it's the carousel. That's what I've been calling it.
Let's roll with that as Aaron Lichty goes on through with a 138.4, good enough for 19th on the board. At the top right now, it's Jack Tranter. Jeremy Swenson is second place at the moment. We're familiar with him from GRIDLIFE Time Attack.
Oh yeah, the big monster from the north there in the Corvette in real life. But one of the sweeter dudes you'll ever meet. He'll mean mug you until you're his best friend, and then he'll just play practical jokes on you and talk about your data. What a fast driver in real life. Glad to see him out here.
Here's Justin Hilley in the number 48 car, and he's always been impressive in this particular Global MX-5. A little bit hot down there into Keyhole, get it kind of rotated. And I was asking Tom O'Gorman and DJ last night in an open practice about how you take this Keyhole corner, because it kind of falls away from you in the middle of the corner. So they were saying that you kind of want to get the curb on entry, drift out a couple feet, and then tuck it down tight to the apex. Is that kind of the general line through there, or is there another way to take it?
The way that I have personally taken it is you overcook the brakes and then you drive into the sand. But technically, I don't think that's the fastest way. But yeah, getting about mid-track, and then tucking it back in and then drifting all the way out track left onto those big zubs. That kind of seems to be the fast line. When Tom O'Gorman drove my old CRX here one time and podiumed in a majors race, SEC majors race, I think he actually beat Eric Cattell in one of the races that weekend. But yeah, watching his video, not getting too far out, but mid-track there.
Here is Chris DeShong in his number 41 car, currently 32nd with a 138.4. If we go back to Tom's little tidbits, the cutoff time to get into this race was a 138.8, and he's only gone 0.4 quicker than that. That buries him all the way down in 33rd. Remember, we're only taking 40 drivers for the feature race tonight. We're going to separate them into 2 heat races here in just about a minute. DeShong goes through, but it's no quicker. Actually, it was a little quicker, 138.329.
That's not too bad.
We'll jump him. Well, it doesn't move him up any. He'll stay in 33rd, I think, because it was a dirty lap. Didn't count, dropped a wheel off course. So he'll stay back in 33rd place. A couple more drivers left out on track, but for the most part, we've kind of wrapped everybody up. One driver, Kyle Herbst, in the 189, is taking the chicane there over. Actually, is he cutting the track?
Oh man, I've actually taken that line one time.
How'd that go?
I actually had made myself sick, and I needed to pull off track there in order to get unsick.
I'll tell you a story. When I was at Road Atlanta for GRIDLIFE South, when Luke McGrew grabbed that Bilstein whatever. What group was that? The Challenger, the SRT Scat Pack Challenger, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I climbed in that car and I had never been in a car with that much horsepower. And I had no idea what to expect. And when we left pit lane full throttle, I thought for a second I wasn't going to get all the way around the track. It was that crazy to me, but that was a wild ride.
Yeah, that track that's an interesting one. Your first couple laps around, Road Atlanta feels like broken. It doesn't feel real. It feels like gravity is broken and everything is strange. But that's a weird one. Your first couple laps, I got lost there until about lap 5. That's a wild ride there.
Certainly is. So our first of our 2 heat races is about to line up and go racing. We'll be doing a standing start. We'll head back to the racetrack here. Starting order are going to be on the left side of the screen. So it'll be Hilly, Cobb, Casera, Swenson, Tom O'Gorman, your top 5. Hartley, Everard, Cathers, Darling, Luke McGrew, the rest of your top 10. Then Lichty, Roman, Tab, Luttrell, Price. Rest of your top 15. There's a couple more drivers, so I'd say a couple more. There's a whole lot more drivers, another 15 of them down the order a little bit, but the gridding process will complete here shortly, Adam, and then we're going to turn them loose for a 7-lap race. It'll be just about a 10-minute event. We're taking the top 15. They will go straight to the feature 20-minute race. The bottom 15 will have to fight it out in the last chance qualifier after the other heat race goes.
Yeah, seeing a lot of familiar names there in the run order. I'm glad to see all of our buddies in real life, and then some buddies we haven't met. This is great.
It looks like we got everybody but Aaron Lichty lined up. He will grid as well, so it's time to go racing from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. GRIDLIFE iRacers Quarantine Cup about to go green for the first of 2 heat races tonight. Then we'll do an LCQ and then race our feature event. Green flag flies racing from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
And look at those mediocre burnouts as they exit their stationary positions to enter turn 1 here.
Justin Hilly's the first one to break away, jumps the curb through turn 1. Everybody trying to get through here clean as they head over to Keyhole. Your first real passing opportunity on this racetrack, Adam, as we head on down 2 and 3 wide in the middle of the field. But now they scramble towards that second corner, hopefully without issue.
Hilly, a former runoff winner, definitely a Mid-Ohio kind of local. This is kind of his home track. He runs a lot of races here. He's held many track records here. I believe even in a 1.6 Spec Miata, he held the track record here. But definitely experienced. He's out front for a reason.
So 10 minutes on the board, 45 seconds have elapsed. Now we're finally where you would typically start races here at Mid-Ohio. Look at Swenson popping out of line right behind him. That's that silver car, Tom O'Gorman on the inside of Casera. Behind him still a few more drivers going for a pass. There's Luttrell deep on the brakes into turn number 4, trying to get on by Emil Tab in the 30.
Which Luttrell do we have here? Do we have Marcus Luttrell there?
That is Marcus Luttrell, and in the 33 car, the blue, red, and white machine right there.
Yep, good looking car there. He raced his first GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, I believe, at Road Atlanta.
Far around, it's Bob Casera in the 45 car. He's gone off track. Back up at the front, though, Austin Cobb has found himself into second place. We're all strung out as we head now towards the end of the first lap here, Adam. Things go quick at Mid-Ohio.
Yes, they do. Even in even evenly matched cars like this, I mean, that pack is stretching out. I mean, it's all down to the tenths here. This is it's a lot of turns in a short period of time. You nail it and you go faster.
Hilly will lead the first of our 7 laps as we come on through. There's the 30 car. That was a great crossover by Emil Tab to get on by Aaron Lichty in that Jägermeister car in the 22. Down to the inside of turn 1, going to maybe jump the curb down there. That's a pretty tall one, Adam. That can't possibly feel very good to run over.
In real life, it upsets the car a little bit. I can promise you that.
You see Emil slowing down. He actually cut the corner there. That's an automatic slowdown penalty. Has to give up a whole lot of spots, and that's going to be disastrous for him trying to lock himself in to the 20-minute feature because he has to gain 5 spots now, make it 6 to lock himself into the race later tonight.
My personal fastest lap ever involved crossing that curb there in turn 1 almost too much, but it does load the outside tires quite well when you get up onto that curb.
Over towards Madness for the second time, Austin Cobb in the number 36 right on the tailpipes of the 48, heading down the hill now and setting up for the technical section. Look at the 48, a little bit of a wide entry, but look at all the curb that Cobb takes to try to shorten up that apex.
Yeah, this is running on the crest here right now. It's real smooth inputs here. You can see from Mr. Hilly. hitting the jump here right now. Car gets a little bit light, but super composed. Entering the tight section, putting that right side mirror all the way up onto the wall, and then just a little bit later than I do, because he does it right. Beautiful entry there into the carousel.
And there's a big train of cars behind. This isn't really the battle we should be watching, though. It should be the battle for 15th, and Gil Winningham in the 811. That's that green, orange, and white car. He is the final transfer position. Miles Gilsinger right behind in the black, gold, and silver car. He needs to gain that spot to earn his way into the feature event tonight. Otherwise, he's got to battle it out in the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, Miles quite fast in real life, too. I think I raced against him in his rookie weekend with SCCA about 4 years ago. He and his dad, Chad, who's a Honda engineer and one of the leaders at the Honda America racing team in Ohio, they were at Gingerman. We sat around and had beers afterwards with another buddy of ours, Steve Sankrika. That was how I was introduced to the Gilsingers. But yeah, that was Miles's rookie weekend, and he handily beat me because he had better equipment. At least that's my excuse.
Always can play the equipment excuse, unless you're driving for one of the big name racing teams. Down to the inside goes Gilsinger in. Oh, a little bit wide goes Gil Winningham off into the grass at turn 4. Get a pullback on course. He drops down a spot. Now Miles Gilsinger transfers in as he stands. Gonna hang on to that. Ryan Carwile in the 71. We know he's fast. All the way back in 16th place. He started, though, in 19th. He's up 3 spots, needs a couple more.
That downhill braking zone entering towards China Beach there, that's always a tricky spot. And I assume it's definitely not any less tricky in the virtual world, but especially when you've got cars around you, you always want to, you have that instinctive feeling to outbrake them, and that is a place where you do not want to brake too late or too hard. It locks up real hard and fast.
Well, these guys are all fighting for 16th place, and Gilsinger's been able to drive away. Right behind him, Ito Waxman has a new livery on board, a new sponsor with him, autocrossdigits.com, as he heads on through the final corner. He started this race in 27th. How about a 9-spot gain in about 3 laps? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
He still needs to gain 3 more.
And he's in the middle of some of the toughest traffic, too. This is a hard track to pass at. There is no, clear, fast opportunities, especially when everybody's in the same car. That's a solid run there for the first lap and a half.
Samuel Engelbert goes sliding off at the exit of turn number 1 down there. There's Aaron Lichty in 12th, but right behind him, Gil Winningham crossing over Ryan Carwile again. They continue to battle for this spot, but Gilsinger's getting away at him. They got to think about the big picture. Doesn't matter if you're 16th or worse, because you're going to have to fight it out in the LCQ, but back up front, battle for the lead has not stopped yet. Hilly, Cobb, Swenson, Casera, O'Gorman, your top 5.
It's a tight battle there, too, for a P1 through 5 there. I mean, we're talking like a 1-car gap at the most. Bumper to bumper in P3, 4, and 5. And a lot of heavy hitters in the name of the virtual world. This is, everybody knows, if you watch any of these live streams, you've seen all these names. This is close.
One dangerous driver tonight is Robert Hartley in the 42. He's the white, black, and yellow car right behind the silver machine of Tom O'Gorman. And I'm suspecting right now everyone's driving very conservatively, because all this really means in terms of this particular race, if you're in the top 15, you finish first, you start on pole. You finish second, you start inside row 2, third inside row 3, and so on and so forth. This is really just qualifying. So don't mess this up and drop yourself outside of the top 15 with a silly mistake. This really isn't going to matter all that much as long as you're somewhere near the front. You see Tomo kind of missed the turn-in point a little bit, but gets it down to the apex through the middle of turn 1.
Just trying to keep it clean and maintain position, I would assume, trying to get through this race rather than win this race. Just being reliable and solid. I mean, it's easier to lose this than to win it. Just get through it. I would assume that's the strategy for almost everybody here.
I think so as well. Gilsinger's closing up on Jacob Price in that Arizona T car, but Ito Waxman is up to 16th place. He's through both Carwile, and now they're 3 wide at the exit of the keyhole. They get that sorted out really quickly, but Waxman's still running times better than a couple of the drivers in front of him as they run down the back straightaway here, Adam.
That back straightaway, too, that's kind of a fun place to pass until you kind of find the inside kink there. I've been pinched off in real life a few times there as other drivers held their line and cut me off. That grass is rough, but it's a longer straightaway than it feels like, and especially when you try to overbreak it. But all these drivers really trying to keep it clean and solid through there. This is was kind of fun to see a multiple race format like this within a couple hours. Really trying to be perfect.
Well, it wasn't perfect. Unfortunately, it was Aaron Lichty. He had an incident. He was crashed out down in 29th place. So that moves this battle for the LCQ straight into Gil Winningham's hands. He is now the transfer driver. Ito Waxman is about 3/10 back here.
Gil's been racing a lot of digital stuff and also really running hard through the real world with his Accord. He's been at almost every GRIDLIFE the past 2 or 3 years, really getting very fast in a car that's he's going faster. He's going about 50% faster than anybody should bet on in real life. I'm glad to see him out here, really hanging on for dear life at the end of the pack here.
And now here comes James Tack in the 72 to the inside of the 18. This is a battle for 16th spot. And whoever completes this pass can go fight that green, orange, and white car of Winningham and maybe transfer themselves into the feature race. 2 laps to go for the drivers at the front of the field. Hilly and Cobb, currently your leaders. Everyone else is single file up there. The battle right now is for this 15th spot. Up the road, though, you see this 3-car group. That's Luttrell, Gilsinger, and the 02 of Price. This is for 12th.
After just a few hard-fought laps, it's good to see some real good battles still happening here, especially when everybody's in the same exact car. We've got like 3 or 4 really fun battles to watch here.
This is really the one that we're focused on. Look at Ito Waxman taking a dive up the inside of Winningham. Had nowhere to go, though. Had to back out, try it again. Next time by will be white flag for the leaders. So I think Waxman's going to try to give it a dive here. But where's the best place to make a last lap pass? You don't want to do it in a risky area, Adam. Where do you do it?
I think, if it's last lap, I think you're really. Ooh, we saw a good off right there. Who was that?
That's Dan Mount out of Michigan.
Oh, that's too bad, man. Just ended his chances at this race, but not too hard of a hit. But I think this track is hard to pass even when everything's going well. But I think the best chance anybody has is to put the pressure on and look for any mistake and get inside. 2 cars wide here is always a little bit intimidating, especially in the back section. If you can get next to somebody and just put some pressure on and hold a nice clean line, that might be your chance to get past them.
Here we go.
It's a tough track to pass at.
Look at Waxman around the outside of Winningham. Winningham goes deep on the brakes to the inside of the keyhole, and Waxman is wide. You're going to have to cross him over and go again down the back straight. Here comes Carwile up the inside, trying to make it double wide at the exit of the keyhole. Now a run down the back straight here, Adam. This is for the transfer spot to the feature race, side by side towards turn 4.
As it pinches off here to the right there underneath the normal flagging station, Gil definitely has a little bit of an advantage here. He's kind of controlling the track. If he can stay next to him in the braking zone here, this is his.
4-car fight for the 15th spot. Waxman on the inside, through madness, down the hill. Winningham slides at corner exit. Now he's got the preferred line. Waxman pulls ahead by a nose. They touch, slip and slide. Waxman's through to 15th place.
He's got it. Looking over the crest here right now. If Gil can get just inside right here, that might be to his advantage.
Here he comes. Checkered flag in the air for Justin Hilly. Doesn't matter. For 15th, they touch again. Bumpers slam at the exit of the hill as they head towards the back straightaway here in Thunder Valley. 2 more corners left for Winningham and Waxman.
We've got the carousel coming up, and this is kind of anybody's game here still. One little bobble, one little mistake. We'll know in just a second.
Waxman played his cards right, and he started all the way back in 27th spot. Happy birthday, Waxman transfers through to the feature race, and Winningham's going to have to do it again.
That is a quality last lap there, right? as Gil gets some cars out of his own way on the cool down. That is a quality last lap. Very, very well fought there by Mr. Waxman. That's impressive. That
was really impressive. So as we wait for the rest of the drivers to come on through, we get a short time to show you the unofficial results. Justin Hilly won the race with the best lap of 1:37.254. Started on pole, led the whole race. No real challenges there. I think everyone just wanted to stay in line and kind of just hang out for a bit while the rest battled behind him for that 15th spot.
Yeah, some good quality racing there. Good to see Mid-Ohio doing Mid-Ohio things. This place, it never fails to deliver in the fun department. I don't care if you're driving, if you are watching. It's a good place, and this place, it was literally plowed into the natural earth. It's a natural terrain road course, just kind of cut by somebody on a Sunday afternoon with their tractor, and it never fails to deliver. What a cool track.
So we're about to get lined up for our second heat race, and if you're looking on screen right now, we got the competition format for you. What we just did, the pink drivers, the pink track rats that you're seeing, those drivers have already advanced to the feature race. They are done until we race the feature. Back up at the front though, here we go, green flag for heat number 2. The next 15 drivers are going to be locked in to the feature event. Ken Alseal on pole alongside DJ Alessandrini. Frantic rundown in the first corner.
Yeah, both of those drivers, real solid names in this series and in many more in the iRacing community. Good to see them out front. I'm excited to see what kind of a battle develops over the next 9 minutes with those two. But we've got a nice, a nice turn one there for a few drivers.
It's Kevin Zhu going for a bit of an off-track excursion as we head down into Keyhole again.
It's a good save right there.
Absolutely. Did a nice job behind him, though. That's the 47 of Patrick Gallagher that's lost at the exit of Keyhole. That's huge. That's an incredible talent that has to do his dirty work later in the LCQ. But up front, Alessandrini's through to the lead. Tranter, second place in that black and gold, number 11.
That livery on DJ's car, I mean, it's bordering on frameable artwork there. Congratulations to Rob for laying out some gorgeous lines there.
He's done an excellent job the past couple weeks. We've seen a bunch of those schemes that he's done up on Facebook lately, and he just does such an incredible job. There's Eric Cattell putting pressure on for third. And he started this race in fourth spot, wants to go up a spot again. This is really just qualifying. So if Cattell finishes right here, he'll start on the outside of row number 4, which would put him in 8th place. So 1 spot better would be 2 spots of an improvement in the feature event. So it's worth a little bit. I'm not sure it's worth crashing yourself over, but we had check on in 15th place. It's Andrew Lanning. That is that white and yellow car. He's in the transfer spot right now with Nelson behind him and Val DiPietro in front of him.
We're seeing a lot of some trains going through here. These drivers really just trying to maintain position up front. Back in the 15th, 16th spot, I'm excited to see the battle that develops there. Riding along with Ryan Christoph. His livery in real life matches his livery in the virtual world. His GTL car, always a good-looking CRX. Solid-looking little car on an MX-5 as well.
He's got a really solid run down towards Keyhole as well to the inside of Nick Nelson. This is for 16th place up the road. See a couple cars passing for position. A little bit of contact there. I think it was Brad Adams in the 86 car. That would have been Derek King. Here comes Lanning for 14th place. DiPietro now transfer car in that bright green GRIDLIFE paint scheme.
Christoph using all the track behind him, trying to chase him down towards China Beach. Entering the kink here underneath the flag station. This is the one chance you get to breathe at this track, and then you get into the madness that becomes the turn before madness, and then all that crazy machine gun action of the back section of Ohio.
Brad Adams in the 53 car. It's easy to spot that tie-dye machine up to 11th place. Behind him, Ruben in the 7 car. Andrew Lanning, Derek King, Ryan Christoph now in transfer position as DiPietro goes back to P16. So move Ryan Christoph into a transfer spot, and he barely made it into Dakota. A little bit of a touch there to the back of Derek King. Side-by-side slide through Thunder Valley for the 46 car.
Ryan's got kind of a good experience here in real life, and man, using all that track there, Derek King on the right-hand side, rubbing the mirrors on the wall. This is a fun battle to watch here back in the transfer area.
Door to door, right in front of him, Nick Nelson. I think that's Lex Kuracek in the Castrol car. They're going to battle door to door and pass complete. So now Derek King in the 86 is the transfer car, the last of the 15 to transfer. Up at the front, though, we'll check back in. Nothing really to report up here other than DJ doing DJ things and Alseal, Tranter, Cattell, and Pilata. The rest of your top 5.
They're probably going to run a nice, clean, respective battle and just take what they can get up here because they're in a good, safe position to enter the main battle of the evening. But yeah, we're seeing some parties back there in the 15th, 16th, 17th area. There's some rubbing and racing happening back there.
It's getting a little bit desperate back here. George Fike in the 09, I believe he was one of the drivers that qualified in. A name I hadn't heard before last week at Quarantine Cup round number 1. He started 23rd. He's up 4 spots already and on a charge forward right now. DiPietro in that bright green car next on his list. Kuracek and Nelson side by side into 4.
Just as last week, I'm actually solidly surprised with the cleanliness of these racers, the respect, and I mean, most people really trying to do their best to leave racing room leaving nothing on the table performance-wise, but leaving just enough room for their fellow drivers. Very clean racing, especially for spec stuff.
I've been absolutely amazed. I think GRIDLIFE is one of the best organizations out there in terms of the sim racing side of things, the most respectful drivers you'll ever see. I'm spoiled at them every time I race anybody else. It's a bad time. You race GRIDLIFE guys, you always get treated with respect. There is a crash as we say that, a crash on the back straightaway. Let's take a look at the replay here, Adam, and see how this all happened. It was Kevin Zhu in the 243. Look up from high above, maybe a slip and slide and off into the corner, just lost the rear end, comes back around. I'm going to tag the 00. I think that was Dustin Crooks. Yep.
That is a shame, but hopefully both of them get a good chance in the LCQ. But once in a while, you just kind of spin and crash.
You're landing off in the dirt just a little bit, dropping wheels, and there's a cone out there in the middle of the racetrack. You can get those stuck up underneath your car. They will slow you down, so keep yourself away from the cones on corner exit.
They even slow you down in virtual world.
Yep.
Yeah, they definitely make weird noises when they're underneath your car in the real life. I don't know that from personal experience, if anybody asks.
A friend told you, right?
Yeah, I heard it from a guy over by there.
Oh, this is up inside the top 10 right there. They're almost 3 wide. The 016 to Schwenke. That's the blue AMS car. Tranter in the 11 dropping backwards, and Jonathan Davis in the 16 trying to take an opportunistic move up the inside here as they head down towards turn 6. They get real tight as they jump the curbs.
And getting kind of busy there, getting racy, using all that, putting a couple on the grass there. It's a dangerous section to pass in, but you can do it. A lot of it relies on the fellow driver giving you just enough room to be on the racing surface.
There's Val DiPietro just had an incident, got a little tap from the 60 car, that being driven by Michael Ross Smith. And kind of got a double whammy there, got turned and then smashed back around the other way. That car is damaged. He'll have to fight it out in the LCQ later.
I think we spoke too soon with this cleanliness. I would blame this on me. If anybody wants to point fingers, I'm usually the one to point them at. So here I am, Adam at GRID.life. Shoot me an email.
So Derek King was the transfer car. He's now dropped down to 17th spot. Lex Kuracek gets on through to 16th, but now it's Nick Nelson in the transfer spot. Everyone forward of him is good to go into the feature race. A lot of cones flying at the exit of turn 2. That's landing again, knocking the orange things off to the side. And
maintaining position there in front of GRIDLIFE instructor Ryan Christoph. Ryan Christoph solidly into 14th place. But it's still anybody's battle to lose as we've got 2 minutes 45 to go. We've got a solid another lap here to watch the mayhem that may ensue around the 15th, 16th position.
Well, we're actually going to have 2 to go this time through, at least that's what I'm seeing. So Hausil and Alessandrini continue to run nose to tail. I'm not sure that these guys will fight. I think they know that this is not really worth crashing yourselves out over, so they're going to just kind of hang out where they are. Again, the battle is going to be for 15th spot, but Nelson's got about a 2-second gap over Kuracek, so I'm feeling like the battle for 16th is maybe what we're watching. It's not going to be for a whole lot other than a starting spot in the LCQ.
Yeah, the gap there is sizable. That's a tough one to make up when you've only got 2 minutes of hot track available, especially in Mid-Ohio. I mean, seconds are hard to find at Mid-Ohio, especially in a car like this. From first place to last place, our qualifying time is probably about a second different. It's a tough place to be when you've had a rough run in the back of the pack.
Definitely 2 laps to go for the race leader, DJ Alessandrini. He comes on through, brings Hausil 2/10 behind him. And I think when we get to the last half of the last lap, they might kind of race a little bit because they know at that point they're pretty much safe. But we'll keep our eyes kind of half on the 2 leaders here as they head down into the keyhole. Eric Cattell in 3rd place, about 7/10 back.
Eric, kind of a Mid-Ohio local. He only lives an hour and a half or so from this track. This is kind of his home turf. Looking solid there in 3rd place, maintaining a real close gap to P1 and P2 as well.
And he'll have a great starting spot for the feature event as well. Nick Nelson still hangs on to that 15th spot. Ryan Christoph again closing on Andrew Lanning. I'm not so sure we won't see a pass for 13th place, and that'll move Christoph up another spot from his starting position. Oh, he actually dropped backwards, so he actually started 11th and is working his way back to where he started. I thought he had come forward. Other way around.
Yeah, he's fighting here, but he's got a solid position. Maintains a nice right side line through Madness and still chasing after Madness, which Madness can throw you for a good loop. Glad to see him in solid place there. Don't overdo it entering this
Oh, man, you see him just flirt with the edge of the racetrack. That is close. There's a little bit of rumble strip out there, Adam, but you step beyond that, even on that curb, that's all paint. That's not very grippy. So you get up on that, you slide right over it.
You put those tires in the dirt there, it's not going to forgive you. He's using all of it, but just maintaining. All he's got to do is maintain at this point.
And it currently sits 14th. Lex Kuricek has gone around in his number 67 Castrol car. White flag in the air for DJ Alessandrini and Ken Ausiel. Another cone knocked off course there. They're really good at setting those things back up, aren't they?
Nose to tail there, P1, P2. Ken Ausiel and DJ Alessandrini there as they enter the keyhole there. It's a fun race here up at the front. They're not bored there, but they are going fast. Clean and fast laps here over and over and over. Final lap as we're approaching our LCQ, the race that I'm most excited about personally.
It was one of the most exciting races last week as well. Patrick Gallagher, we mentioned his spin as we got a battle for the lead down into turn number 4. Here comes Ausiel up the inside. DJ's got to give room. He does. Now for madness, crossover left, crossover right. Here comes Ausiel, but no place to go. Ducks back in line.
Ausiel uses all the inside curb there going into China Beach, that right-hander at the bottom of the straightaway, but he kept it in line before madness.
I was bringing attention to Patrick Gallagher because he's worked his way back to 17th. Might be able to grab 16th, but it's not going to be enough to automatically transfer him. So I think the 47 of Gallagher is going to be the one to watch for that consolation race, at least as the race winner. Only 10 will transfer in the consolation event, the LCQ. Final couple corners for Alessandrini and Ausiel. For the lead, it's going to be a bumper maybe? Doesn't look like it. Final corner, DJ Alessandrini will come on through, and he'll get the job done in heat number 2.
Yeah, he's got a good run there out of the carousel. Good, solid, clean race there for DJ. We'd expect nothing less after the many years of seeing him and Ken run door-to-door solid, clean laps all the time. But good, clean racing up front. Nothing too much. I mean, there's not too many battles here at the back. Good, clean racing the last lap or so. I'd hope to see about 5 cars wide there through the carousel.
Not quite, but we'll take another look at our format here before we go green for our LCQ. So again, on your screen, earlier today we did the open qualifying. 105 drivers entered. We took 60. Then they qualified for their heat races. We took the top 60 of those, put them into 2 30-driver heats. The top 15 moved straight to the feature. Now it's time for the LCQ. The yellow that you see on your screen, only the top 10, the kind of purple track rats there, they will fill out the rest of our grid here, Adam. So now it's time to race. Only 10 drivers will move on, and at the front of the field, it's Gil Winningham, George Fike, Ryan Carwile, Patrick Gallagher, Emil Tabb, Bordhart, Tack, Hilbert, Webster, and Michael Ross Smith, your top 10 other heavy hitters in this race. Kyle Herbst, Chris DeShong, Samuel Engelbert, Mark Labance is back here. There's a lot of drivers I think are capable of working their way inside the top 10, and they're going to have 10 minutes to do it.
Yeah, anybody's race here as we're about ready to take the green. You're going to see the nice burnouts here in a second, but a lot of experienced drivers here. I think it's going to come down to cleanliness and perfection, but also, yeah, obviously you got to be up front. 10 minutes to get to P10 or better.
LCQ time. The flagman has the starting flag in hand and ready to roll, waiting for Dan Mount to get up and grid. But here we go. Time to go racing from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. GRIDLIFE iRacers Quarantine Cup Consolation Race. Green flag flies racing again as Winningham fires off, bringing Fike, Carwell, and Tabb with him to turn 1.
Man, those drivers that get through the LCQ and then into the heat, that's a lot of racing in one night. 3 sprint races, super sprint races there in one night. That's some door-to-door action there.
Oh, car off the background. That's hard into the wall for, there's a couple cars back there. Charles Boley is one of them.
Man.
Lex Kuricek, BJ Roman. Whoa, car sailing off course. That's Lex Kuricek. Good thing there's a tire barrier there. They're going to need it. Into the lead goes George Fike down the inside of the 811 car.
That was a rowdy turn 1 there for the back of the pack, but at least we don't have to buy new barriers when it's in iRacing.
Yeah, you can
have had to buy barriers in real life.
It is probably not as inexpensive as in iRacing, at least. So
it's not as quick, and the cleanup takes a while. But
you buy the whole track for $14.95 here. 3 wide out into turn 4. And going to pull the timing away because a couple drivers have reset. Cars spinning in the background, sideways at the exit of 4, the 14 of Webster, right in the middle of the field. Everybody's stacking up as they try to make their way down the hill.
I think it's going to come down to attrition.
Oh, there goes another car. They're all wrecking out.
Yeah.
There's Vallejos in the number 5. That was our 15th place car. Now it's Sam Engelbert. Actually, it's going to be a little bit farther down than this because there's a couple drivers that have reset back to the pits that have jumped to the top of the scoring pylon. Another car sideways. That's Christopher Adams right in the path of the 2 of Jeff Lee. They split the difference and leave him in the middle of the track.
That is a party of a first lap right there.
More cars off. Gil Whittingham, the pole sitter, going to spin around. He's off in the dirt at the far side of Thunder Valley.
We'll see if Gil's got enough to take it up to P10 or better, but that's not a great start. 8 minutes to go. The LCQ is delivering as we'd expect. Gallagher, Fike, Carwell, and Tab are P1 through 4 right now.
And where is our transfer position? And again, it'll be 10th place. That's Bob Caceres, number 45. He's got Val DiPietro. Have a look at this, Adam. Where did he start? How about 26th to 11th in a lap?
It's a pretty good lap. It's not a boring one at all. He had his hands full there. That's a solid first start on this LCQ race for Mr. DiPietro.
I don't think he's done yet. Caceres in his crosshairs right now. Right in front of him, Samuel Engelbert, who had a bit of a slide at the opening lap at his GRIDLIFE sponsored number 12. Rockets down the back straight, side by side in front of them, though. Lots of trouble left. I don't think we're done seeing cars spinning and sliding just yet.
Engelbert, a familiar name on the grid in GRIDLIFE, running BMWs in real life. Glad to see him out here right now. He's got to defend that P9. He had a nice solid run. He had kind of a rough start in his first race, and hope to see him hold it together. That livery in real life is a good-looking choice. And we've seen a similar livery in a couple of Time Attack cars. It looks good in the MX-5 too. I love the liveries. The liveries always get me. This is one of the most enjoyable parts of these races.
It's really cool. He started 19th. He gained 10 spots in about a lap and a half, so move him inside the top 10 and in transfer position for the feature race tonight. Behind him, Caceres and DiPietro nose to tail. Both of them want the spot, and Caceres has it. DiPietro wants it. I think he's a little bit quicker, at least in the opening lap.
Yeah, we'll see what the next 6 minutes brings here. This is probably going to be the battle right here. 3 drivers that we've seen in GRIDLIFE iRacers for several years. Good amount of experience between all of them. It's just going to come down to perfection and optimizing.
They touch! They touch again. The 45 goes sliding wide at the exit of 1. DiPietro goes on through. Caceres in the dirt, pulls it back on course, and with a push and a shove, DiPietro is now in the transfer spot.
Yeah, he does live to fight another day, though, and he keeps it on the pavement, which is tough to do in turn 1 there.
Now let's take another look at the incident down into turn number 1. They come off into the corner here, Adam, and the 102 is established alongside, and that's a tough one to call for me, but they touched once, they touched twice, and the 45 just slid a little bit wide at corner exit and dropped back about a second.
Hard to say if he left him enough room or just enough room, but they did tap just a little bit, just enough room there to keep the car on the right there onto the track. But could have been bad, could have been a lot worse. This is not an enjoyable place to spin in real life coming out of turn 1.
I think Matthew Morehart, he just had an internet connectivity problem. He's back. I thought he had dropped out of the field. So DiPietro hangs on. Caceres not done yet, though. He's 9/10ths back. I don't think he's totally finished fighting for this event. Up in 8th place, so there's Kyle Herbst in the 189. He started his race in 15th. He's gained 7 spots to hold P8 right now.
5 minutes to go. We're halfway through this race, and P1 through 4 solid. Gallagher, Fike, Tab, and Carwell as we've had for the last few laps, but that P10 area is a volatile place. DiPietro right now just hanging on.
And that gap has started to come back down 0.8 of a second now as they come through the final corner. And Caceres maybe out for blood to come back and get what was rightfully his about a lap ago. I think he feels that way. I don't know if DiPietro feels the same. So they come on through turn number 1 using every bit of racetrack on corner exit.
Caceres' car looks okay. It doesn't look like that touch was too hard. A little bit of a fender gap issue there, but we can deal with that as long as that alignment isn't knocked out. We'll see what he's got for us in the next 4 minutes. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to get to the front. He's right there. He's within striking distance.
Actually, these cars can take, at least in iRacing, can take a fairly decent beating on that the front suspension without really damaging the steering. They are side by side for 4th place. There's a 72 and 71 going for a spot. Crossover, cross under through madness.
place to be in traffic in real life, entering Madness. It's always exciting. It is never boring when you have somebody on your tail.
And these guys are just about an inch apart as they came down the hill. They've separated out slightly now as they head towards Thunder Valley. Look at the Carwile car, the VT car, nice and tidy to the apex. And look at the run he built onto the back straightaway here. Very clean racing there up at the front. Now he's going to try to line himself up for a pass into the carousel. A little bit tricky to do it here, though, so might really be setting up for the keyhole. So we have 3 minutes and 25 left on the clock. And this time through should be 3 laps to go. Behind him, 7th place, there's Mordhart and Kyle Herbst. They continue their battle.
The top 5 and 6 here, and this is clean racing, but you wonder how crazy it's going to get in the next 3 minutes. But man, that P9, 10, and 11 area, Kucera is not letting up. We're seeing about a car and a half there between he and DiPietro for the 10th spot.
Definitely not done between these two. Meanwhile, for 2nd place, there's Emil Tab. He goes on through. We're going to jump back to the 10th place fight, though, as they head through Keyhole. Kucera may be lining up a crossover onto the back straight. Now the draft here, Adam. The slipstream on this back straightaway. These cars have about 180 horsepower, and they're going to feel like they have 300 in the draft of this lead car.
Yeah, this is the one section that you really do want to be on the bumper of your friend. Get up, get in tight, and hold on. Seeing, look at that advantage right there. Bob Kucera uses that, gets inside, just inside there, is breaking into China Beach. Perfection. That is solid right there.
That was a really well executed pass straight out of the textbook there, and he'll go on through into 10th. That's the transfer spot, and DiPietro drops off. I'm just wondering if DiPietro's pace is going to pick back up with that little bit of extra determination to get back by the 45 car. He's only going to have 2 laps to do it.
We saw almost a second and a half of pace built up by Mr. Kucera, and that was a clean lap and a half there. 1:49 to go, just under 1 lap, or just around 1 lap of Mid-Ohio.
So Kucera ran his best lap the last time around, and so did DiPietro, but for Kucera, it was almost a second quicker, 0.8 better than the trailing 102 car. So we'll come on through. 2 laps to go now for these drivers, as we come on to lap number 6 of 7 in this 10-minute race. He's going to float it through real hard through turn 1, use all the curb to track out, grab a little bit of dirt, slip and slide, catches it, and now letting himself kind of get in the slipstream again, Adam. I think he's going to have a look into turn 4 and down towards Madness here.
This battle is not over. We've got 2 laps to go. That's a lot of track. It almost touches in the keyhole there. See if we can get up nice and close to Kucera in the slipstream. We'll know in about 4 miles how this battle plays out, but we might have a fun 4 miles on our hands. Yeah, he took a stab at it through the keyhole. I don't think that was really an opportunity for him, and he kind of hurt his run down the straightaway. Still able to close in slightly as they head to turn 4, though. Yeah, he's probably just on the tail end of the draft there, about 2 cars back as he enters Madness, both maintaining a real clean line, and all the way outside slips a little bit of a sloppier line entering the back section under the Honda bridge, nice and tight. All he's got to do is maintain perfection and hope for not the same from Kucera in front of him. Watching the delicate moves that he's doing on this wheel, that you can really kind of just flick this car in and drive it on the throttle the way it's set up in iRacing, especially with the hot rear tires. So that's what he's going to do. Look at the correction, more right than left through that corner. They're going to drag his tires out over the edge of the curb and line himself up for the carousel. Yeah, a little bit of opposite lock on just about every turn as we're watching, and hits the bump here coming into the front straightaway. Nice clean lap. He's got 1 more to go. About 2 miles. He's right there. He's not too far back. This is still his. So we'll check back in on them as soon as they head down towards turn 4. But for Patrick Gallagher, he's got Emil Tab right behind him, and Tab just ran 4/10 quicker than the 47. Maybe helped by the slipstream slightly, but that is the quickest lap that we've seen in the LCQ so far. That was a 1:37.946 for the 30 car. Solid lap for a winning Formula driver. You can never count out a winning Formula driver, no matter if it's real life or virtual. Good to see him solid in this LCQ. Hoping to see a good performance out of him in the final race. Real tight. There's Ryan Carwile and James Tack in the 72. And going to drift out a little bit wide, have a look into Madness. Not close enough to do anything about it. There's Ray Hilbert
in the 43. That's the blue and gray car. Check back in with our 10th place fight. Here they are, side by side, as we suspected here, and running down the hill towards the far side of the course.
Yeah, this battle will not let up, I'm sure, unless somebody really bends it. Both these cars still in good shape. I mean, they're not fighting mechanical demons yet, as long as they don't touch too hard.
They go, heading up the hill now, and this is so important for DiPietro to get right. Look at the run he's built. Here he comes. Checkered flag for Gallagher, the fight for 10th. Can he get into the feature race? Can Val DiPietro have a look to the inside? Backs out. He's got a couple corners left. Here he comes. Slides out to driver's right. Maybe a dive up the inside, a little bit too far back, though.
Yeah, he had a good run on him going into the Thunder Valley section, and still has a decent run on him coming out of the carousel, but not quite enough.
Car stopping on the front straight, and looks like Casera will be the final driver to transfer in to the feature race. So one last time, we'll have a look at our format before we go racing for our 20-minute feature. We did our qualifying earlier. To pick our top 60 drivers. We had 105 enter, 60 were able to qualify. Then we separated into two 30-driver heats. That's what we just did a couple minutes ago. And just now, we just completed our LCQ, and now we have our 40 drivers for our feature race for GRIDLIFE iRacers Quarantine Cup, round number 2 for Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Here's a quick look at where we're headed next week. It'll be Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta next Tuesday night, and right after that will be Road America for our final round, the Superhighway of Speed in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, Adam. Both those tracks, a lot of fun, both GRIDLIFE-oriented facilities, and again, very classic American tracks as well.
Yeah, both a little bit of a power track in their own respective ways, but Road America kind of one of the dyno tracks of our club racing and pro racing series in the U.S.
Have a look. Here's we'll look at our weather real quick. Track surface has dropped a little bit to 74 degrees. And have a look at this. How many cars are lined up? We got 40 of them. We're going to go green here in just about 20 seconds. You can see cars all the way wrapped around the final corner over there.
40 cars in a standing start. That is a serious standing start.
What's the limit here at Mid-Ohio? Can we do 70? I'd love to do 70.
About 25 cars a mile is the normal limit. The most I've ever started here in a sprint race was 57.
All right, here we go. Green flag flies. GRIDLIFE iRacers Quarantine Cup, round number 2 is green. Hilly and Alessandrini on the front row. They run down to turn 1. Who can win this? Already a car stop. It's Blake Clements. Already crashed out. The HRX car, big damage as they head through the first corner.
That up front, though, man, what a clean turn 1. As they file a nice line towards the keyhole, you can see the experience paying off in the top 15 or so here. This is a clean start.
Luke McGrew was one of the other drivers involved in that collision, so his night will end early as we get another car off. It's Eric Cattell. He's off in the dirt, and he's going to drop way down the order. There's the 20 car going for a spin. That is James Cathers as everybody scatters down the back straight. Hilly and Alessandrini battling side by side for the lead towards turn 4.
Dropping down here towards China Beach, Alessandrini holding a nice solid line, yeah.
Oh, there goes Pilata off the nose of O'Gorman. They touch. Pilata saves it. He's got left sides of the grass. Here comes Tranter around the outside. 3 wide through madness. How do you do that? Adam, that's insane.
You do that very carefully. That's how you do that.
I don't know if that was careful or reckless, but they did it either way. They're still trying 3 wide back here.
I've been 3 wide with Mike Taylor and Eric Cattell there in real life. You don't want to do it too often. You got to trust the people around you.
Another car stopped at the top of the hill. That's Eric Pennington's 54. He's had problems over there on the far side of the track. Alessandrini through to the lead. Still lots of battling. Here's Hartley and Jonathan Davis for 10th. Our round spinning. Jonathan Davis spins. The 16, he backs it into the tire barrier.
18 minutes to go. We got 2 minutes of party so far.
Oh, man, this is going to be tight. Carousel 3 wide, easy. Emil Tab up the middle, backs out. He'll have to try that again.
And 3 wide onto the front straight. That's a busy place to be, multiple cars wide. This is not as wide of a track as it looks. I mean, it's a pro track, but it's not narrow. It's not wide. It's definitely a little bit narrow.
We just saw Bob Casera. He's off on the straightaway. We're going to get a look at how that all happened. He was the last transfer driver from the LCQ. With a little bit of contact with the 47 of Gallagher right there. Corner exit, touch, tap, and off he went.
A little bit of tank slapper and touches the inside right wall there just after the carousel. That's a shame.
Alessandrini, your leader. And look at this. We have about a 7 car, I think it's actually a 6 car breakaway DJ back through, no, it is 7 cars. Robert Casera, then Tom O'Gorman's back there. Here comes Paul Darling in the 155. Haven't really talked about him a whole lot yet tonight, Adam, but he is consistently one of the best drivers in this car, and up 6 spots already. Real
fast in the SCCA Pro-Am Valvoline shootout on Saturday. Very, very solid performance overall.
He's an incredible driver in pretty much everything you throw him in, and I don't think he's only going to finish 13th. Got a long way to climb up the order. Check back down the field a little bit. Nick Nelson, one of the drivers that qualified in heat number 2, I believe, right in front of him. Ryan Christoph and Marcus Luttrell.
You said Paul on Saturday. I heard Paul Darling is a corner worker.
Yes.
Primarily, correct? It's really cool to see one of the flaggers. In real life, we kind of take them for granted. I'm glad to see a flagger out here showing us just how fast a flagger can be. That is awesome.
It is really cool. We got 16 minutes left to go in this race, and you see a couple of cones getting knocked off again. Hilly keeping Alessandrini honest, but there's a big gap back to Tom O'Gorman. I'm curious to see if he can close that gap, because the front 5 or 6 here incredibly fast. How Seal up the inside of Cobb, though, for 3rd.
Just about 4 minutes down. We've got 16 to go as they're dropping down towards China Beach. Door to door there for the lead.
Running down the back straight, the draft here, going to pull everybody in, kind of that accordion effect that you get with these slower cars. Now they're going to run in nose to tail. Here comes Hal Seal up the inside. The 36 goes to protect, and Ken has to back out and try this again, but now Swenson all over the back of the 23.
Kind of proves how wide the fast line through Mid-Ohio is in some spots. You see cars looking inside 2 cars wide for the turning point. You can go fast through that braking zone, kind of anywhere you need to go. It's an interesting track in a few spots. You can go fast and not maintain the exact same line as the guy next to you.
Top 6 altogether. Casera rounding out that. Tom O'Gorman's 1.5 back, working with Jack Tranter, nose to tail. And we'll check deeper in the field. Luttrell and Jacob Price, Ryan Christoph, Nelson Fike, Herbst, all in this secondary group, starting with Andrew Lanning in 17th place.
That is a serious train back there. That is wild looking.
And all the way back here is Eric Cattell in the number 82. He started in 6th, dropped to 25th, so he's battling way outside the rest of his buddies up towards the front. But sometimes this is kind of fun, Adam. Obviously, you want to be up towards the front, but driving through traffic, you can make you feel like Superman.
I've seen Eric Cattell do some pretty impressive things in real life. I would expect in the next 14 minutes we're going to see him work his way.
Oh, that was dicey. George Fike.
Unless he has a bad few minutes here, he's cautious, but he's also one of the more aggressive drivers that I've ever seen. It's always fun to watch him drive.
I think 33rd to 3rd at Road Atlanta. I think that was race 2 last year.
Incredible.
That was
totally incredible.
That was insane. Here, how about throw out another thing that's insane is 3 wide for the lead. Here comes Cobb up the inside. They touch. Hilly gets slammed in the right front tire. We're still 3 wide. Hal Seal on the outside of madness. He gets the job done. Goes to the top spot. Alessandrini's got damage on that right rear. I think we were 4 wide behind him for a second, Adam.
Yeah. Good to see a party there up front. That is that is kind of wild there. This is not the place to go 3 and 4 wide, but if you do, be careful.
Can't take your eyes off these guys for 2 seconds, so they go 6 wide and a tractor only 20 feet wide in the spot. So I'm not gonna peel my eyes off this until they sort this out all the way. But Hal Seal goes to the top spot.
Yeah, we're seeing 10 pounds of party in a 5-pound bag here down through the back section of Mid-Ohio. These MX-5 cars, they do take a little bit of a fender hit, which is good. We haven't lost anybody in the top 6, but they are earning their respective spots.
10 pounds of party was my nickname in high school as we come on through.
I knew.
13 minutes ago.
I didn't want to say it,
Here comes DJ with a run on driver's right. Hal Seal goes to protect. Going to swing back over to driver's left. Maybe tuck in line, give him a push. Here they go. Side by side again towards the keyhole.
DJ looks inside to the left, entering the braking zone and half track. He might have a better run on Hilly through this back section. We'll see how tight he can get entering China Beach. You can see he creeps up on him about an equal pace there coming out of the keyhole. Yeah, he's using the draft.
Here he comes.
Cars wide entering the braking zone, and DJ outside, good and clean. Can he hold it?
I think DJ's got it, but Ken drifts out a little bit wide at the exit of Madness, now down towards turn number 6, and DJ's back to the top spot. Swenson now side by side for second place. Time attack driver getting his feet wet with wheel to wheel. Oh, they're going to touch there. He crowds Halcyon over the curb. That was real dicey.
Nice. Very nicely done. Nice, no hard contact coming out of that. That's a tough section to be that many cars wide and that much change in position happen.
There's Paul Darling up to 12th, looking for 11th on Travis Schwenke. Jump back up to the front, though, because Halcyon's right on the tailpipes of the 3 car. Through the carousel, drifts out wide. Halcyon goes for the gap, but closes over the curb.
These guys have got my resting heart rate up shockingly higher than I figured it would be. This is a good race.
The good news, Adam, is that after this, no matter what happens, no one owes anybody any money.
It's true, and I don't have to go out and sweep the oil.
Exactly.
Most tracks, I try to go out and sweep the oil myself if I can help, and there is no cleanup necessary.
Hilly's got fenders bashed in on the right side of that car. He's been into either the wall or another competitor. A little bit of a checkup into the keyhole. That's Cobb right in the tailpipes of Halcyon. Rob Casera as well as Tom O'Gorman. He has rejoined this group, and I think he's the wild card. We know that he's as fast as DJ Alessandrini at the front of this pack, but he sits 8th. I don't think we're done seeing Tom O'Gorman go forward.
We've got 11 more minutes right now, though. This pack of the top 10, I mean, it almost looks like this is synchronized driving. This is just about, I mean, it is follow the leader to almost perfection. They're all running almost the exact same line. Nice and tidy as we enter Madness here with the leaders. This is probably a very familiar sight for Justin Hilly, specking out a driver in the real world. This is looking at the back of a Mazda and being real close to your friends. This is a familiar place for him. We'll see what he does. He's currently P6.
Look how tight this, I mean, you mentioned it. This is like pace laps, but at double the speed as we head through Thunder Valley. And again, the top 3 now real tight together. Austin Cobb right behind with Casera. And then a very small gap, I mean, very small, less than a car length, back to Justin Hilly, who was our pole sitter tonight.
So like follow the leader at 11 tenths. I mean, this is interesting.
I liken a lot of racing like this to a chess match at 100 miles an hour. If you make the wrong move, it hurts. Down into turn 1.
DJ out front, not by a lot though. Swenson chasing him 0.2 of a second, just behind, about 2 car lengths as they enter the keyhole. DJ outside left, driver's left, and a nice tidy line in the braking zone, followed by everyone.
There's Jack Tranter to the inside of Justin Hilly, puts him back a spot. There is a large gap behind Andrew Abbott. It's about 4 seconds back to Miles Gilsinger in 14th, and Elias Roman. Brad Adams in the number 53s back here. Lanning, Luttrell, Price, Christoph, a lot of our big name drivers. Emil Tab as well. Eric Catil is off track. He's been off for 3 laps, Adam, so something took out the 82. Done for the night.
I wonder if Eric lost the relays out of his car as he did at Road Atlanta.
I don't think the curbs are quite as violent here, so he might have gotten away with it this time. Down the hill, though, for the lead, side by side again. Swenson on the outside. Was there a touch or just a slide? He's out wide, goes back to 3rd.
2 cars wide, 3, and now back to 3rd. Yet, 2 cars wide with the 4th place car.
Here comes Tomo up the inside. That's real tight with Tranter.
This is a tight battle. We're only talking about a 10-car spread in about 8 cars here. This is, it's still anybody's game. We're 8 minutes left.
Oh, there's a touch. There goes Hilly off the nose of O'Gorman. Sends him around. Can he save it? He does. That was an incredible drive.
That is a masterful save right there. Keeps all 4 on. Barely puts the driver's side, passenger side back. Tire just against that outside of the pavement. Very, very clean.
All he had to do was just crank that wheel back to the right and hang on to it. He did it. Was our pole sitter. He's back to 10th now. O'Gorman up to 7th. A bit of a gap back to Jack Tranter. So now we have a 6-car breakaway. Alessandrini, Halcyon, Swenson, Cobb, Casera, and Tranter.
I do feel like I should explain the Eric Catil relay joke.
Yes. Obviously I know, but there's a lot of people out there that might not.
I think it was the opening lap of the first race at GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, Road Atlanta last year. Eric Catil jumped the inside of, turn 3?
Yep.
Turn 2?
I think it was turn 3.
And the car bombed down so...
I'm just showing a replay here. You're good. Keep talking.
Okay. And he bombed down so hard, and his fuse box was aiming downward, and all the relays fell out as he crashed down on the pavement again. So the car stalled, and out he was.
And he ended up putting the relays back in the car and rode from 33rd to 3rd in the following race. And
a stellar drive.
Absolutely massive. And I think he figured out how to solve that problem from preventing it from happening again. So he did a nice job.
I would imagine it was an adhesive of some sort. Yeah. Nice clean drive here, P1 through 10, following the leader through the back section of Mid-Ohio. Real tight here for Alessandrini and House Seal. You wonder if these two get sick of looking at the back of each other's cars as they run real tight over and over lap after lap.
Oh, I know that new paint scheme for DJ, so I think Ken Houseal's got that memory refreshed. The Hawk Performance logo that has just disappeared because Houseal's so close. A new partnership for Alessandrini this week, but obviously Ken doesn't want anybody to know about that.
No, we're seeing the back of Alessandrini's car just a little bit tagged up. I wonder where that bend came from, just under the Syndicate logo.
I think it was a couple laps ago when they were all about 3 wide down through Madness. I think that was where he got that.
A little bit of hard racing there. We're doing it for Dale here at the Mid-Ohio circuit.
All right, so checking back in a little bit deeper in the field, there's a little bit of a group behind Andrew Lanning still. Ryan Kristoff is one of those drivers, so is Jacob Price and Marcus Luttrell. And Kristoff's car looking a little beat up there on the right front as well, the left front rather.
Yeah, they're not taking it easy here in the feature race. 6 minutes to go. We're seeing battles everywhere still. It is not a boring one.
Certainly isn't. 3 cars covered by about 5 car lengths. They head down through underneath the Honda Bridge. And there is Elias Roman in the 99, and he's battling Miles Gilsinger. And these 3, including Brad Adams, have had a mighty fight so far tonight. I'm sure Brad's having a lot of fun behind the wheel here.
Brad will definitely be posting recap videos of something, because that's what Brad does. And hopefully he's got a good one here.
Alongside the daily memes, of course, as he crests the hill.
That's right. That's right.
22nd to 16th, so plus 6 for him so far.
Yeah, not bad. Brad on the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup Rules Committee in real life. Glad to see him out here wheeling hard in the virtual world.
He's been one of the biggest users of iRacing in this time as well. He's on it almost every day and enjoying it all the time and trying out different kinds of racing too, Adam. I think that's one of the things drivers have been discovering is that you can kind of explore your horizons and go to tracks all over the world, and it doesn't really cost you much more than the cost of the racetrack in iRacing. So Brad's been taking advantage of that.
If you had as many kids as Brad, you would do that too.
I think I do that already without kids. I think it's a problem. But 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Cobb and Casera have just traded spots for 4th. And Tom O'Gorman is right back up on this group. It's a 7-car group now as we got a battle for the lead again, side by side towards 4.
We're only talking a 1.6 gap, P1 through 7. House Seal now in P1, swaps with Alessandrini entering the back section here. Swenson P3, Casera, and then Cobb, Tranter, and O'Gorman for P7. That's a 1.6 second gap. It's still, I mean, we're talking, what, 3-4 laps here with 4 minutes to go?
Next time by should be 3 to go, yes. So we're getting down to it.
This could be, we have no idea who will win this race. No idea. Swenson using all of the track there, getting a little bit into the dirt, coming after the jump, entering the carousel. These three, the P1 through 4 is using just about everything they can get.
Coming this time to 3 laps to go through the carousel. Look at DJ wheeling that car, trying to get a run back on Ken Houseal, because Ken is difficult enough to pass when he's got other cars in front of him, but he's got a clear racetrack, so he can do whatever he needs to do now as they run into turn 1. And you also got Swenson and Casera behind. And everyone said that Casera was the driver to beat. I wonder if he hasn't showed his cards yet, and he's just waiting for an opportunity to strike. He's still got plenty of time as these front 2 going to run door to door again into the keyhole.
We're seeing Ken Houseal making this Miata as wide as he can make it, using every bit of the fast track surface.
They touch at the exit of 2, and here comes Swenson up the inside. DJ with a big slowdown at the exit of the corner, gonna drop down to 4th, maybe 5th, maybe even 6th, because Tranter's there as well. We had a really tight shot, but I think DJ just got maybe a touch from Swenson that put him in, and now here comes Swenson to the outside lane into turn 4. He's gonna go to the lead from 3rd in turn 2. No, here comes Houseal back up the outside.
3 wide into the braking zone approaching China Beach is that's a fun look out your window when you've got 2 of your buddies on either side of you. That's a busy scene. I'm glad to see them make it all clean through there as they enter the Honda Bridge over the crest. Hausiel maintains position, but that's a busy 2 or 3 turns right there.
Ryan Kristoff's gone around in madness, so he's gone for a loop. But I think the party has started. We come to 2 to go this time by Adam, and I don't think anyone's holding back anything at all now. Look at Casera, though, up into 3rd. I think he's the one to beat. We've talked about how he was the favorite coming into the night, or at least all the other drivers thought that, and he's in a great position right now.
That's a tight 3rd, too. We're not talking any gap to Swenson in P2. Real close. This is anybody's race. It's follow the leader still. We're only 3 seconds back down to P12, 13. This is it's a tight pack. P1 through 5. I don't know what to say. I think P3 is in a better place than anybody else. He's not running for his life.
Oh, touch!
He's chasing.
And there goes Swenson, bump and run. Here comes DJ back to the inside. He'll take that. Please and thank you, and runs up the inside for 3rd. No, can't complete the pass, drops back in line.
Being a couple cars back might be a good spot to be. I mean, you're under a little bit less pressure, and you get to have the pace handed to you, and you know you can run that pace. You see a lot of cones rolling in the background.
They have them lined up on some of the course cuts there, and drivers will apex that so tight they'll knock the cones off the edge of the track.
I do not envy anybody up front here.
Oh, Tomo gets clipped, and around goes Cobb as well, and it's chaos and madness. And Paul Darling comes to a stop, but Tomo around, he'll get back rolling in 11th place, but his chances to win this race effectively over. Ryan Kristoff has reset back to the pits. For the lead, though, Hausiel's got it. They come to white flag this time by, and it's a 4-car breakaway after the chaos.
That was a fun lap.
I'm sure a couple of drivers will disagree. Tom O'Gorman, one of them. The 36 of Austin Cobb, who was inside the top 5 before that. Now they're building a gap here, Adam, maybe to draft back up by this 23 car, because it's white flag this time through. 2.27 miles left at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
I can feel the anxiety just watching the leader at Mid-Ohio last lap. I mean, this is a fun place to be when you're in P2 and P3. It's still yours. You don't know if it's away. You've got about 12 turns to go before it's decided. So there's a lot of stuff to do here as we drop down into the big straightaway. Man, it's so tight.
Oh,
it's
another
tight.
Touch there, another push, another shove. Swenson getting the rear bumper beat up on the back of his Miata. Now for the straightaway. This is really where I think it's all going to have to come to an end, because after this, the passing opportunities severely decrease. So look at the run that Casera's got off the bumper of Alessandrini. Going to take a fight to 2nd and maybe have a run at the end here. Here he comes up the inside.
Alessandrini looking inside left there in the braking zone.
Well, Swenson's there as well. Down through madness, half the course left. Hausiel's got the lead, slipping and sliding, hands working overtime inside this car. Half a lap to go, and Swenson is in the perfect spot here. He's just got to worry about Casera and Alessandrini behind him.
Looking for any mistakes in Ken Hausiel. Ken Hausiel not making any if he can help it.
Oh, Swenson.
Looking to the inside.
Oh, tight line there as they crest the hill, and he's going to have one more shot, but this is it. GRIDLIFE iRacers Quarantine Cup, round number 2 from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. 2 corners left. Hausiel, Swenson, Casera, Alessandrini, all nose to tail. Carousel, checkered flag is in the hands of the starter. Here we come to the checkers. Contact behind him. Swenson and Casera battling bumper to bumper, but it's Ken Hausiel that gets it done at Mid-Ohio.
Good, clean last lap there. Nobody making any stupid moves. We're looking at Hausiel, Swenson, Casera, and Alessandrini to finish this thing out P1 through 4.
Tom O'Gorman, after getting turned around with 2 to go, finishes down in 11th spot, I believe, so that'll be where he finishes out. Actually scored, looks like, in 12th, so that's a disappointing result for him. I'm sure it wasn't as fun as he wanted it to be at the end there. But for the lead, Ken Hausiel did everything right, Adam. Just defended and ran exactly what he and made no mistakes, and that's how you got to win these things, is not make a single misstep.
Yeah, the last 3 or 4 laps there, I mean, that was a clinic. I mean, it was perfect lines everywhere, making that car as wide as you can make it, using all that track, not leaving anything on the table, and that's how you do it.
Here's a look at your race results, and at the top of the board, it was Hausiel with a 137.3 as his best lap. He started in 4th. It was good enough for him to lead 5 of 13 laps and bring it home in victory lane. Then it's Swenson, Casera, Alessandrini, Tranter. Saw Darling and Tom O'Gorman just outside that top 10. Disappointing nights, though, for Cobb, O'Gorman, Darling. We also saw Eric Catil have incidents earlier, as well as Ryan Kristoff. He finished down in 28th. Emil Tab in 26th. And Luke McGrew, his night was over before it even started. Back in 40th, he never even got to see the green flag.
Yeah, he must not have had a full enough can of Monster or something. I mean, this is sad. Got to have Luke McGrew. When you don't have Luke McGrew, what do you got?
Not a whole lot here as checkered flag is out. We're going to see if we can get to talk to a couple drivers before we end the night here. I have to look down and see if we can grab at least Ken Houseal to talk to. Race is over. We're going to step away for just a moment. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back live to GRIDLIFE Gaming and Sim TV. Here now for the interviews for the GRIDLIFE iRacers Quarantine Cup round number 2 from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Here now with our race-winning driver. It was Ken Houseal in the number 23 car. Ken, it was a wild night battling amongst the top 5, but you came home leading this thing. Walk us through the last couple laps as you battled with Swenson, Casera, Alessandrini, and more.
Yeah, you summed it up well. That was pretty wild. I think pretty much everybody in the top 5, maybe top 10, was within a tenth or two pace-wise. So it was going to be whoever got lucky, I guess. I didn't really want to be in the lead. I was going to just keep pushing DJ. Decided, okay, I'll go to the lead through keyhole and we can try to draft together, whatnot. And then I totally just missed third gear. I shifted to third and just got a box of neutrals. Eventually stumbled back in, but after DJ ran into me, held him up, which I guess effectively won me the race because everybody started battling. So that was just pure dumb luck. I think it would have been real difficult to win otherwise. It was really, really close racing.
Walk me through those 3 wide moments down through Madness and through the far side of the course, because they got really dicey up there. You know, these guys, you race with them all the time. Are you able to trust them when you run that close?
I would say yes. These guys none of us want to wreck each other. I mean, we're out there trying to have fun, be respectful, whatnot. So it's like GLTC. They don't want contact. I mean, there was a little contact when I got to the lead the first time between the guys ahead of me, just incidental contact. And otherwise, I mean, like I said, we're all trying to be clean. I trust these guys, so it's lots of fun.
Ken, I want to thank you for jumping in here and talking with us. Congratulations on your solid drive through the field and starting up front in 4th and taking home the victory in Quarantine Cup round number 2. We'll look forward to seeing you next week at Road Atlanta.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
All right. So in the meantime, I think we're waiting for either Adam to jump back in here. We're Got some technical things there, or somebody else to talk to, but couldn't get a hold of the other two drivers, Swenson or Casera. So in the meantime, we're just going to kind of go over what the plan is for next week. We're going to be heading to, it'll be Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, where we're going to compete for round number 3 of the GRIDLIFE iRacers Quarantine Cup. We'll conclude the season the following week at Elkhart Lakes Road America, which is a 4.5-mile road course in Wisconsin. It is a wonderful high-speed racing facility. Really looking forward to completing that. We're going to jump to break one more time, try to grab a couple more people, and we'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back live to GRIDLIFE Gaming and GRIDLIFE iRacers Quarantine Cup round number 2. Couldn't get a hold of the second or third place finishers, but we're going to let the order scroll back on through one more time. Adam, in conclusion, we had a spectacular night of racing here at Mid-Ohio, but now we head to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. As you described it earlier, a power track, a lot faster, a lot swoopier as well, another way to describe that place. It's got a lot of elevation change. Going to be a fun week next week.
Yeah, it's sort of like Mid-Ohio up one gear. You know, if you add a 5th gear or a 6th gear to your normal Mid-Ohio speed, that is what you have at Road Atlanta. Kind of a similar layout, similar feel, a lot of elevation change, but just a little bit faster. Quite a track in real life, and it's a tough one anywhere you race it.
And then the following week, we're going to conclude the season for this first go at the GRIDLIFE iRacers Championship on the GRIDLIFE channels. That'll be Road America. We'll finish off the season, and that was where we concluded the GRIDLIFE season in 2019, Adam. And that track, or at least in terms of the points, but that was a spectacular event from what I saw, especially the racing with the lower powered cars. That's a draft track, and it's also really narrow and a lot of fun.
Yeah, a couple of old school tracks to go for the rest of the season here, and both of them have their ups and their downs, their difficulties, and they definitely both have speed. They take pretty much everything you can give them, and then to win, sometimes they take a little bit more than you can. They're both wild places. I'm looking forward to Road Atlanta. Should be fun to watch.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and Adam, thanks for jumping in here. Hopefully, we'll have you back again. We'll see if the wife will grant another hall pass for you to join me next week or beyond that, but thanks for joining me.
As long as the internet works, hopefully we'll be there.
All right. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the GRIDLIFE YouTube channel if you're watching there, if you're on Facebook. If you're not already liked on this page, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you catch every round of the GRIDLIFE iRacers Quarantine Cup. If you're on Twitch, make sure you follow there. And if you're interested in us, you can find us at youtube.com/SimTV Broadcasting. Again, my name is Kyle Heyer with Adam Jabay for GRIDLIFE iRacers Quarantine Cup. We'll see you next week at 8:45.